Well, there you go, guys. We are officially started on the call, and again, we encourage you to have your ears like really glued to your phone. Please take notes and be able to, if you have questions, you can ask them at the end of the call. My name is Wendy Lovejoy, and I am the Marketing Director of GaREIA. You just heard Karen Yap, who is the Executive Director. And tonight we have two seasoned, experienced real estate investors, and they're going to be sharing a lot of information. What I'd like to do is to first have them introduce themselves. So let's start with, let's say, Bill Cook. Bill, could you please share with the audience a little bit about yourself and your real estate investing experience?
I'll just keep it basic. My wife and I do this together. Started in 1995 in single-family houses, mobile homes, and mobile home parks.
Awesome, and we appreciate that. And now, if you could do the same, please, Darlene Coquerel, could you please announce just give the audience a little bit about your background and experience in real estate investing.
Okay, thanks, Wendy. Let's see, back in 1990, I bought the Carlton Sheets program from late night TV, and after a few months, I made several offers, and I thought I really just wasted my money. And finally, a year later, I finally got a HUD home under contract, and I was so excited, but I had no idea what to do. And it was a program that they had that offered $100 down special, and I was so excited. And then I got towards the closing and realized I needed $1,000 to go to closing, and it was pretty scary because we didn't really have money at the time. We qualified for the credit, and so I knew absolutely nothing coming into real estate. And then finally, a few months later, we bought a VA foreclosure and then a corporate relocation, and then the RTC back then was bailing out the savings and loan, and they gave us 3 houses for pretty good prices. And then I got my real estate license because I had kids and I had a full-time job, and I could only do this research at nighttime, and real estate agents weren't awake, so I got my license to help us invest. And then we just kept buying listed properties one after the other, and then we couldn't qualify for mortgages anymore after several of them. And so we went to some classes and learned how to buy properties subject to and deal with owners financing the properties themselves. And anyway, fast forward 10, 15 years later, the last 5 years, I've been primarily buying houses at the courthouse steps at the foreclosure auction, and I've gotten aligned with some very deep-pocketed investors, and so I do nothing but stay busy in real estate these days. And that's about it.
You're already sharing a lot of information, Darlene, and really we appreciate that. What I would like to do is for the next 15 to 20 minutes, let's say at about 8:20, we'll open up for questions. But for now, if you and Bill can just communicate, share, conversate on any information that you feel that the listening audience would benefit from. So I'm going to turn the call over to you both, and you can share whatever you feel would benefit our listeners tonight.
Great.
Well, I like to follow Bill's lead. He's pretty good at coming up with some great ideas.
Before you just so everybody just knows with when on the video that you're buying, over 100 people out of the water.
Bill, you keep going in and out.
Oh, I am?
You sound real low, Bill.
Okay, I'm going to have to go outside because I live on a farm and I have crappy cell phone service.
That's better here. That's better.
Can you buy real estate out there?
That and horses. Okay, Darlene?
Yes.
The question I was asking was, how many, I said on the video that I wanted people to understand what a great investor you are, and I said on the video that you were buying over 100 properties a year. Tell folks how many properties you're actually buying a year.
I heard that video, and I thought you made a mistake. It's more like 100 a month We literally pick up, and we're in a buy and hold mode. So we have these big funds that we buy them, we renovate them, put tenants in them. So there's one strategy on the buy and hold. You have to know, what the return on the investment that you're looking for, and that's what we do. We have a huge team in place. So we've got guys that drive houses all month long, and then we go out to several counties at the courthouse steps, and then we have an REO team that we make offers on a daily basis, and just constantly, we're just transaction engineers. I do nothing else.
I wanted folks to hear that. So when you're talking, you're listening to somebody. When you're listening to Darlene, that's doing over 100 deals a month, and that's some major league stuff right there.
And it's right now in Atlanta. So those people that think you can't find the deals out there, I promise you. On Tuesday we picked up 120, couple here, couple there, so maybe more like 122. We lost one, lost two. Additionally, we picked up another 14 from auction.com online. We picked up 10 from another online auction just this week alone. So, I mean, the deals are out there. People think they're not. They're not in the traditional places that they've been, but it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of research. And for a new investor, I purposely let you guys know that when I started out, that Carlton Sheets program, I couldn't believe I wasted my money because it didn't do anything for me. And that first HUD home, I was practically in tears because I knew absolutely nothing. And when you get into this business and you have only done 1 to 5 deals, you have to be very careful. And Bill, as you and I've talked, it's really important to build a strong team of people that you trust and people that are better than you are. So I am not shy at all to come alongside somebody, and I make a few $100s or a few $1,000s, and they make $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. There's so much to gain from that.
If you were talking to someone who is new, what are some of the top 3 things you would tell them to do? Best ways to get started. What are some of the things they need to do to just get started? First and foremost, I cannot say enough, and I honestly was shy. I met somebody at GaREIA in my first 12 to 15 months in the business, and that was so helpful for me because she ended up becoming the president of GaREIA, Debbie Henning, and she invited me to the Gwinnett subgroup, and so I went to some folks' homes, and I look forward to that every month because that's where I learned everything, just sitting down around a table with some people. We ate, we spent the night together, the evening, and talking about real estate. I got contacts for vendors. Some of the biggest mistakes I made, was not knowing how to work with contractors right, and I learned a lot just being with those people. So I think the very first thing I would say is finding people who are doing this on a regular basis and aligning yourself with people that you trust. You trust their opinion. You can validate the business that they're doing. And so first and foremost, that would be the first thing is finding some good people to be around. Also, it's funny you say that because I just want to chime in on that. It's the same thing with us. When Kim and I started in '95, the first things we did was in GaREIA. So that was the first place we went where someone said, "Oh, here's how you spell real estate investing," because we didn't have a clue to where to get started or anything, but it was to be around other like-minded people, and that really helped us out too. So that's where you and I we have a similar track.
Yeah, and and Debbie Henning and Mike Henning, they were brilliant. They knew so much, and yet when we met them, they hadn't done their first deal yet. And so their knowledge helped us. We partnered together on the next couple deals, but their knowledge is what got us past doing a couple deals together. And then, my ex, his ability to jump off the cliff, and it was important for the 4 of us. So everybody brings something different to the table, and I know everybody is different in this business, but for me, that's the most important thing is I come alongside, just like, I don't know if you guys know, Bill Cook is famous for door knocking, and we all went out door knocking this past 30 days or so, and I'm 20 plus years in this business, and I learned so much being out there, Bill. People ask me, why are you here? Because I'm learning, believe it or not.
And you like the cold, evidently.
My last text to Bill in the last 48 hours was, I'm so over the cold. We were at the auction on Tuesday, and it just felt colder than it was. I'm done with cold.
And this is one other thing when I was thinking about when you get started, what are the important things you do to get started? And you kind of said that about door knocking. I'm real fond of getting people out to go meet with sellers right away. They don't have to know how to write a contract. They don't need to know how to structure a deal, the price of the house. None of that matters. But just go out and sit down and talk to a seller and ask Pete Fortunato. And a lot of people don't know who Pete Fortunato is, but he's the best creative deal structurer I've ever met on the planet. But he has a great question he always asks sellers, which is, and the question is this: why are you selling such a nice house like this? And then just sit back and listen. So when you start, don't be scared to go meet with sellers. You don't have to make an offer. Just ask that question, and then just kind of dig at that question to see if you like just being there, because the alpha and omega of real estate investing is being face-to-face with sellers. And a lot of people I watch go through a lot of training and then never once get in front of a seller. And I'd rather see them get in front of sellers almost from the beginning and just ask that question. So that's a good way to get started. And that led to the next question, Darlene. What are some of the pitfalls you recommend investors avoid?
You know, one of the biggest ones, and it's funny because I feel like everything I'm saying goes back to knowledge. One of the biggest ones is not relying on other people to tell me what a house is worth, or how much I could sell it for, how much I could rent it for, or how much the renovation is going to cost me. It is so important to get whatever it takes to learn that, or have a trusted member on your team that is good at knowing what these pieces are. So one of the biggest pitfalls is relying on other people.
Yeah.
You know, I can't say enough about that. I hate it when I see people out there that are prominent, you know, well-known real estate investors, and yet a new person gets taken advantage of because somebody told them that the ARV, the actual fair market value of this house, is a lot higher than that person could go out there and sell it for today. And there's, you know,
the stakes in the grass are out there too. I watch, unfortunately, at about any meeting I've ever been to, there's always someone there trying to sell snake oil, and it's snake oil. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. So it's a hard thing. You know, these are really nice people. They're good people. They all have good intentions, yet you find out what the facts are. Another pitfall, and there's a fine line. The fine line, it's about spending your money on the front end. You know, on mentoring and coaching. I am all in favor of getting a good mentor and a good coach, but you have to have the wherewithal to benefit from that teaching. So if you haven't been out there yet, if you haven't gotten some bumps and bruises, you know, a little bit of experience under your belt, knocking on doors, trying to make some offers, if you haven't done that yet, it may not be a good idea to spend money on a mentor. And if you're going to spend money,
I agree with you 100%, because I watch people spend like $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. They've never met with a batting. And I'm like, no, go meet with sellers. And I know that if I have one big pitfall that I look at people and say avoid this, is the folks who come in thinking that real estate investing is easy. You know, it's simple. It's a simple business, but it's not easy because, again, you got to get face-to-face with sellers regular, and that's the tough part.
Oh, my gosh, you have to tell your story. One of the things, every time I listen to you, Bill, what's so exciting is that it is so simple. When you listen to Bill, it's not about real estate. It's about solving people's problems. And I think that's the number one way to look at real estate is go out there and be a problem solver. You know,
that makes it easy.
Yeah. It's not that I necessarily wanted to go knocking on doors, but I wanted to hear Bill Cook's strategies. And not only Bill Cook's strategies, but Bill Cook's strategies from all the other mentors that were in his life.
You hear all those stories, don't you?
Yeah.
I got one last question for you. What are the top three things you think an investor needs to do every week to be successful? Kind of on a weekly basis, the top three things.
I think one of the first things is learn how treat real estate like a business. So the first thing that you have to do is identify what you want to accomplish and commit it to paper. So you need your GPS, you need your roadmap. And once you know what your roadmap is, number one, farm your area. You have to know what's coming and what's going. So farming your area is knocking on doors, talking to sellers, looking on the internet. Every one of us is strong in something. Some people like the phone, some people like the internet, technology, some people like to go face to face. I think you need all of that. And so farming an area, identify an area that you can be comfortable with. That's number one for me. Every week I have to do something in terms of knowing what's coming or going in my area and try to get an offer out there. That would probably be.
You're fishing with and I'm fishing with a cane pole, and you're fishing with a big old. It shows you there's not a way to be successful. There's a lot of different ways because, you do more houses, you buy more houses in a week than I buy in a decade. So that's the way it works.
Yeah.
But anyway, kind of what you said, I know for me, if I could tell someone to do one thing, or there's one piece of advice, is to, hey, get face-to-face with 10 sellers a week.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it. You got to get face-to-face, got to find a reason why to go meet with sellers. And it's easy to get off that track. So
I have another one.
There.
I have another one that's exciting, and it's practice with other people's money. After I was sitting at your last class when we did the boot camp, one of the things I did while you were talking is I just wrote down all these things, and it was what I'm learning playing with the big boys in the business. And one of the things I realized is that for my own portfolio, I'm practicing with other people's money. And what I mean by that to those folks that are on the call and new investors is this is fun. When I go to the steps with $1 million to $2 million, and I could never fathom that in my life. And so what I do to buy those houses takes a lot of work and a lot of training. But for a real estate investor that says, Darlene, you're way out there. I can't even touch you. Even Bill, who's really successful at this, says, you do in a week what I do in a decade. But let's take it back down to a couple deals. It's called bird dogging. You could practice with other people's money just by being a bird dog, which is go out there and practice finding deals and flipping them to investors. By the way, I'm one of them investors. I can't buy enough houses.
One of the things I just thought about is, I did a video. The video for the Monday meeting was on a lady's steps, and that was for real. We went and met with her, and the deal didn't work for me and Kim. The numbers were wrong, but the first person I said was you. I also did a video of the inside of the house, sent you the information, and said, hey, Darlene, this didn't work for us, but this may work for you. So that's when you mean by bird dogging, that's just something I can throw at you and say, hey, I can't make this work, but maybe you can. So that's how you help each other. Absolutely. Okay, we also mentioned that GaREIA is going to have a meeting on Monday, this coming Monday. So it's going to be on February the 10th, and I think you're going to be on the panel. I'm going to be on the panel. We're going to have a money lender on the panel, and then two people who are in the last boot camp will be on the panel talking about basically real estate investing and just answering questions from the audience, and also covering a lot of questions that people ask us on a regular basis. Yeah. So you think Monday's meeting is going to be a good one? Oh, my gosh, Monday will be fun. Bill's going to be there. It will be absolutely fun. One of the things this is called investor beware. We're in caveat emptor state, buyer beware. This is called investor beware. If you're in the audience, there's a good chance Bill or Darlene are going to talk to you, so be ready. And bring questions. Yes, definitely bring questions. And I think the other thing we're supposed to mention is we have GaREIA is going to be having their boot camp that I think we both worked at last time, and that's going to be on March 13th through the 16th. And I think part of what we do will be going out to look at a house and maybe even knocking on some doors, from what I understand. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So why don't we just go ahead and open up to everybody else's questions too, because I know that's where Wendy wanted to go with this. Okay. Wendy?
Yes, we're ready. Guys, thank you so much, Bill. That was awesome. And if we can at this moment have any questions for the floor, please announce yourself and who the question is directed to.
Jesse Carter, I'd like to direct the question to Bill. You knock on doors, but how do you get your leads? Do you randomly knock on doors? You get a list, or what? How do you get your leads to knock on the doors?
Oh, it's real complicated. What I do is I just drive through neighborhoods and I see a big sign in the yard that says for sale or for rent, or even if it's a truck for sale. I never find a reason why not to go knock on a homeowner's door. So I don't have any lists, don't buy any lists. I just, basically, it's what you heard Darlene talk about. My area is a around the Cartersville, Georgia Walmart, and it has been for about 11 or 12 years. And I just stay in my little circle, drive through the neighborhoods, and whenever I see something that looks, odd to me or a for sale sign, I just go knock on the door. Simple as that.
Okay.
I said when we were out there, Bill finds excuses to knock on the door. There was a Girl Scout cookie sign, and he knocked on the door.
No, I was hungry. Darlene went to
Bill, let me ask you a question. This is Wendy, and what made you choose the Walmart?
Because Walmart, you figure they're not going to put a super Walmart anywhere unless they've done millions of dollars worth of research saying that there's people who are affluent in the area, they have spendable cash, they're going to have nice homes, good places to eat, good transportation, good everything. And so if Walmart builds a big store somewhere, that was good enough for me. I'm not as smart as Walmart folks, so I just copied them, and when they put it here, there's the center of my circle, and that was that. Easy to buy.
Awesome. Anybody else with a question for our speakers tonight?
I have one for Darlene.
Okay.
Darlene, one of the things that has always amazed me is how are you able to juggle all the deals that you have going on at any time and not absolutely go positively insane? Because I'm fascinated by that.
The only way to do it is to have a stellar team. Again, it's back to I like to deal with people who are really good at what they do, and I am good at pushing paper. I'm acquisitions and sales, and that's really all I do. So because I'm really good at that, I try to take the bottlenecks out and give them to other people. So someone else handles the property management and someone else handles the rehab. I've got guys who drive around. I drive around the block and get lost. So I don't even go out to take pictures anymore. Other people do. But those guys are really good at it, and they can upload it in a heartbeat. So they get me pictures of everything I need to see. And so the biggest thing is number one, when you're passionate about something, Bill, as you know, the clock doesn't tick. It doesn't even matter how long it takes. It doesn't even matter how little sleep you get. And that's what it's all about, is finding your passion in real estate and stick to that and build your team around you to handle the pieces that you either don't like or you're not good at. And I figured that out about 10, 15 years ago.
Well, one of the things that's amazing is, again, you're passing this on. How old is your daughter?
24.
She's 24, and she's kind of new to real estate. How many properties did she buy on Tuesday?
She bought 5 houses, Bill. She bought 5 houses. Now, my daughter's an artist, and unfortunately, we've been in real estate longer than she's been alive, and so she's been around it all her life, but she hasn't really liked it. So, but she works with me full time now, and she ran her county by herself and bought 5 houses, and so I'm extremely proud of her. It was awesome.
You should be. I mean, that's
yeah.
Like, she's a kid. She's a kid doing this.
Yeah.
This is Thomas, and I have a question.
Yes.
And
Go ahead.
Either Bill or Darlene could take it.
Go ahead, Darlene.
How do you arrive at price? I've done a bunch of deals in the last 18 months, and as I've shared my deals with fellow real estate investors, at least half the time I'm told you probably pay too much. You got an okay deal, but not a great deal. How do you? What formula do you use? How do you figure out what the right price is?
Thank you for asking. I'm sorry, I missed your name. Who's this?
This is Thomas Coleman, Darlene.
Thomas Coleman. Good to talk to you. How do I arrive at the price?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a real good question, and unfortunately, it can't be answered very quickly. It takes a lot of time. One of the things that I think that I bring to my team is the right prices. I underwrite our packages constantly, and I am very meticulous at it. I constantly look at the pulse of the market out there. You know, as a real estate broker, I use FMLS and MLS. I also use Zillow. We've done so many rentals that I've got our own set of comps on rents all over the city of Atlanta. But for pricing on buying, you have to know, and I learned mine at the GaREIA boot camp. I learned it a long time ago, coming to the ARV, which is the fair market value after repaired value, the Mayo, what am I going to offer? What's my maximum allowable offer? There's so many different formulas, and you have to learn, are you doing a buy and hold? If you're doing a buy and hold, your return on investment is very different than if you're going to go out there and flip. If you're going to go out there and flip, Thomas, part of it's the price. Part of it's what's going on in the market. You know, if I'm selling to an end user, there's some very important things I need to know about Atlanta and FHA and flipping guidelines right now, et cetera, et cetera. So getting out there, you have to be a student of the process. I mean, I wish I could tell you that there was a quick, easy answer, but there's not. You have to have
I didn't mean to cut you off, but one of the things I thought of, Darlene, is when we were out door knocking, you know, we got in that one house that was where the door was open, it was vacant.
Yeah.
The door was unlocked.
Yes, Bill, I remember that. Sure it was.
Yeah. So anyway, we went through that house, and you know, we had a lot of people with us, and you got on one wall and I got on the other. It was to come up what's the most we're willing to pay for that house.
Yeah.
And you know, Darlene had her formula and what her numbers were, and I had my numbers, what they were, and because I was going to buy it as a flip, and Darlene was going to buy it as a hold, what she was willing to spend on the house was a good bit higher than what I was willing to spend on the house. So, you know, Darlene kind of mentioned, you know, what is your exit strategy, because that plays a big role in what your asking price is. But I have a question for you. On the houses that you said your friends were saying your offer was too high on, did you get the houses?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And, you know, they
do they work?
Absolutely, they work. You know, my strength is rehabbing. So okay. That's really what I brought. So, you know, I could scope the rehab. I could buy the house. I could run the numbers. They're cash flowing wonderfully, and they're meeting my ROI objectives. And I think you said something that was really important in that. I mean, I'm a buy and hold investor, and some of these guys are probably giving me that feedback, thinking on how much do I have to spend to flip this house. But you know, you're spending at a different level if you're spending the rehab for a rental than for a flip.
Yeah, and here's another thing. You said you're good. You know, you're really good at rehabs, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, people put a hammer in my hands only if they want something destroyed. So I'm gonna have to hire people to get the work done at my house because you know I'm just not a contractor. You know, a screwdriver is to go into my hand and draw blood and make me cuss a lot. So someone like you can go in and do the rehabs yourself, and you're going to do a rehab much cheaper than what I can.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So again, the thing is, you said people were looking at you saying you pay too much, and the question I asked you was, but did it work? And you said, yeah, it worked. I made money on the deal. Well, there you go. Mm-hmm. Your numbers were right. So don't worry about what someone else says.
Mm-hmm.
One other piece of that too is, believe it or not, I bet you Bill would have even paid $1 million for that house if the terms were right.
Yeah.
And that's probably and that's what keeps me coming back every time I see Bill out there, is that I can't hear enough of Bill's creative strategies. You know, what is the right price? It's not necessarily a price. It could be the right terms. You know, it's exciting to see that Bill, in my opinion, overpays for houses in terms of the total price of the house. But he gets such ridiculous terms that the price of the house doesn't even matter.
Uh-huh. It's funny. Today I met with some sellers of a mobile home park we're closing on in about 2 weeks. And the park is worth about $275,000 as it sits, at the most. And I'm paying $415,000 for it. So
wow.
Why on earth would I overpay, $150,000 for a park?
Tell us why.
Well, the answer was I got owner financing at $1,800 a month, and the thing cash flows at $6,000 a month.
Awesome.
So I mean, the cash flow is huge, So the deal works for me, and I can care less what I pay for it, because 30 years from now, it's going to be paid for, and it's going to be worth a lot more, and life is grand. So, pay more if you can get the terms. But if you can't get terms, you have to pay less.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
thanks, guys. Very helpful.
Yeah, that's one of the things you'll hear us talk about on Monday. Is in any offer you make in any deal, there's two parts of the deal. There's price and there's terms. And two offers in my offer. One is based on price, one is terms. And you'll hear us talk a lot about that on Monday at the meeting.
So what we're going to do is tonight, guys, really encourage you to come out on Monday. We're at the 30-minute mark, so we're going to go ahead and start closing down the call. We want to thank the listeners, the people that made themselves available to listen to the information that was being shared, because, again, you had two experienced investors that look at investing from two different avenues, and they shared a lot of content tonight. So we want to thank you again and just give you one last thing that you want to close out with. Both of you, if you can do that, and then we'll end with Bill. Bill, you can close us out tonight. Both of you did an awesome job. Really appreciate it. So let's start with Darlene. Darlene, how would you like to end the call on your side?
I run a class at GaREIA, and every class I always like to talk to the people that are in the class, and the reason for that is to find out and get them to find out themselves. Identify what it is you want from real estate. And for me, for example, when I'm like 58 to 60 years old, I want to be able to work and choose my own pace. I won't stop doing real estate. I'll still be there. But right now, I'm developing my business plan so that I can have passive income that will support me, so maybe I'm going to make $8,000 to $10,000 a month, and I know how I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for my rental properties. I'm going to do that for my brokerage fees, and I'm going to do that for my partnering. And so every person needs to find what that is for them. And I think that's what I want to end with is between now and Monday or next time I see you guys is come up with what is it that you want in 2014 from real estate, and talk to people like Bill and me and Thomas and others out there about what it is you're trying to get. And you say it enough times, you hear enough people talk about it, you're going to find ways to reach those goals. But I can tell you for sure, if your answer is, I want to flip some real estate, I want to buy and hold, and that's all it is, and there's nothing more specific than that, you have a long way to go, and we're here to help you try to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Great advice, Arlene. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make mine sound pretty crappy.
No, I doubt it.
This is all insightful.
What's that?
My flop. And all I really had to say is, if I ever have advice for anybody, it's always going to be go get face-to-face with sellers and ask Pete's questions. I'm not talking about making offers. Just go find out why they're selling the property. Because whenever someone calls me up and they have a problem, I ask two questions, and that tells me exactly what's going on. The two questions are this: how many sellers have you seen this month, and how many sellers have you seen this year? And those two answers tell me everything. And believe it or not, most of the time when someone's having problems, they tell me, well, I've seen one seller this month and 3 this year. Well, we know what the problem is. So folks who tell me, hey, I've seen 15 or 20 sellers this month, and I've seen 150 sellers this year, they don't have a problem. They don't call me up saying, hey, I'm not finding deals or not buying properties. They're saying, yeah, I'm finding them all over the place. So you got to be out there getting face-to-face with sellers. And again, just one more reminder is get everybody to GaREIA's Monday night meeting, because I think with both Darlene and me, when we started off, we hit every GaREIA meeting there was, and every subgroup meeting. That's how we learned. That was our building blocks. So that's where we got started.
Absolutely.
And to get more information on the meeting, feel free to visit the website. Bill, can you share the website and the phone number, and then we'll wish everybody a happy night.
Well, I can't help with the phone number, but I got the website, which is GaREIA.org.
And Karen, can you share the phone number?
Yes, it's 770-451-8800. 770-451-8800.
And with that being said, everybody, thank you so much to our speakers tonight and everybody that listened in. Again, great job. Thank you for the information. We wish everybody a very good night, and this call is officially over. We will see you next Thursday. We have 2 other speakers next Thursday at the same time. Talk to you.
Thanks, Wendy, for making it happen.
Wendy. Appreciate it.
Good night and thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.